All right, good evening, peoples of the internet. Welcome to December 20th, Leatherboys of Color monthly boy talk. I am your host for the time being, Boy Boogie B, until my co-host shows up. They're going to be with me today. Um, the topic, of course, is can an S type have an S type? Um, this was a discussion that was literally posted like a few months ago from Boy Hellhound. And I thought it was an interesting topic because when one thinks of a boy, most of the time that's associated with being a submissive. And, you know, people have their feelings of, oh, if you're submissive, you can't have another submissive because that would in turn make you a D type. And so I wanted to bring this discussion with people, mostly boys, and we see we have some D types in the building. So I would love to get your opinions as well. And this is like a formal, not a formal thing, it's like kind of an open discussion. And we're just going to talk for a few moments, if that's all right. Okay. So the question, can an S type have an S type, or is that a thing that is foreseeable? I'm going to open the floor. So if you can just like either like raise your hand. So, but I want to hear from you. Or do you want me to go first?
I can go first if you like.
Sure. Let's hear
So
Boy Brian.
being sort of new to the community, I would say that, as a like vanguard sort of identifying person, there's possibilities for everyone to have some sort of dynamic with another individual of any shape or form. However, I do think to have like a proper S type dynamic as another S type, that comes with like knowledge, training, education. So like we shouldn't assume those roles just because we think they're cute and we want other dynamics. I think we need to like be properly educated and given the tools by our D types or other S types before we go into that sort of dynamic, collaboration kind of thing. But that's just me. It's not impossible, but
Yeah.
it's something that comes with time and knowledge, in my opinion, I guess.
Right. So, um, for me, I am in this very situation right now. I won't say a situation, but am in the process of collaring a submissive and myself identifying as a switch. At first, it was kind of rocky because for me, it was, you know, I knew who I was. I knew that I always was a switch, and I knew that I have my own type of journey that I want to kind of foster. And so when the topic came up of, I'm talking with my submissive and she's very like, eager to serve and all that stuff. And at the time I was like, well, I don't even have like a DS dynamic, so to speak. So I was looking for answers or looking for just knowledge from the community as to how to go about that because I've never been in this kind of predicament. I was hoping to be the one being collared and all of that stuff. So to me to be on that side, it's it's a new experience. And at first I didn't know how to traverse it. I didn't know how to go about it. But as time goes on and like I really got to know her and I really got to like, started that process of building that relationship and that dynamic, it became easier to say, okay, this is like I know that she's for real about it, and she's just not here because she wants that because she sees everybody in a dynamic, and so it's easier. And I'm in the process now of just trying to figure out when's the right time. What to say. Is there a formal thing to say, or are you just gonna wing it? But so all of these things do come up, but I think that again, everybody is different. You have some S types who just want to be an S type, and that's perfectly fine because no dynamic is the same. That this journey, this lifestyle is not the same. So I'm all for individuals going on their individual journeys and finding out what works for them and what works best for them and what doesn't work for them, so long as nobody's being hurt in the process or nobody's being taken advantage of. I think that that's amazing. Um, if anybody else want to chime in, please, because
Hi, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
I want to pick it back off what Boy Brian said. I think it's wonderful that we that the can everybody hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, that the S type can have another S type, but we need to make sure that the whole vetting process is actually done just as with any other a DS relationship. Make sure that the expectations and the love of the journeys are in proper alignment, and also to making sure that the S type has the skills and the information and background and network to provide what it is that the S type is looking for. All of that needs to be in connection with each other, kind of piggybacking backing off of what Boy Brian said. So, and if that is the case, then yes, move forward. But if not, then that's just something that should probably not properly be, because it needs to be a proper alignment. Such that that S type is in the position to make the proper introductions, give the proper information, such that that S type can then get in situations where they can be invited to go into other aspects along this leather journey. And that's pretty much my take on. But definitely, the S type can move with an S type as long as it's proper alignment and they have the skill set to give to the S type for what it is that they're looking for on this journey.
absolutely. Thank you for your input. Um, yeah, I think too, especially when it comes to, old guard and what's old guard and what's new guard and what's this vanguard and this avant-garde. It's it's one of those discussions I think that needs to be had just on that topic alone, because I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for me. And I value everything that, the old guard has set up. I value those protocols. I value, protection. I value the structure that was put in place. But I also see points from the new guard. And like the new guard is like, I want to express myself and I don't really want I don't it's not that it's like I don't want to be locked into a dynamic to feel like I belong. Like if I'm by myself, then that's perfectly fine. But I think the waters get muddy when it's just constant feedback and constant just arguing and bickering, and nobody's like, okay, what's the solution here? Let's get people from this side, people from this side, and let's come to some type of agreement or some type of like mutual ground. And I think that that's what's lacking. So when it comes to like, oh, you're an S type, so you shouldn't even be thinking about having anybody under you because of this. It's like you can't really dictate that because everybody's different. Like everybody has their own way of navigating this journey. As fucked up and chaotic as it is, everybody has something that works for them. And so yeah, as long as those rules are in place, as long as you negotiated and you did your due diligence and you're going by those key roles and those key important topics and key pillars of BDSM and kink, like I don't have a problem with it personally. I really don't. That's just my take on it. We see we have Boy Oba who's decided to join us. Hey, co-host.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. So we were just going on, we just opened up the floor with the basic question of the topic tonight, can a S type have an S type? And if so, what are the process and how would that look?
Okay. Well, personally, this boy, when he started his journey, did not want to be anybody's D type, and he didn't think that he ever would. Um, then my daddy started getting on me about obtaining an S type. And he was still adamant that he didn't want an S type. That has changed for him now. he's been wanting an S type for a couple of years, and he's had 2 prospects over the couple of years that did not work out.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has a mentee, and that dynamic is going great. It is just absolutely better than he even imagined that it would be. And it's somebody that he dated 100 years ago, and we have remained friends. Someone has something going on in their background.
I got it.
Okay, so when he came to Boy about Boy mentoring him, I asked the prevalent questions, and all the answers were good enough to where Boy said, all right, we're going to do this. And every assignment given has been done. We do our, well, they were going to be bi-weekly, but they're going to be weekly one-on-ones via Zoom because they live in Brooklyn and I'm here in Atlanta.
Brooklyn in the
So
house. Do I know this person? Nah.
You might,
maybe,
but
nah.
but it's going well to the point where he's coming to visit Boy for his birthday weekend in January, and let me make sure he's not on here.
Right, because we recording it. We live.
So his one of his birthday gifts is going to be consideration collar. I don't know if you can see that.
That's nice. That's pretty.
Thank you. So we're gonna start a new journey that he doesn't know yet. But and I saw that somebody made a Facebook post and he said his desire is to be collared. And I had already gotten that. So it's yeah, it's going well, and we're happy with how things are going. And he's doing the readings and anything else that I give him to do.
So he's showing initiative.
He's showing an initiative. He's showing great initiative. And so being an S type with an S type is Boy's belief that to be an effective D type, you should experience being an S type. Absolutely. That's not everybody's journey. And Boy understands that. But in Boy's opinion, an effective S type, an effective D type should experience being an S type. My former daddy was somebody's S type, and my current daddy was somebody's S type. And everything ain't always cookies and cream, but from their experience of being an S type, they know how to navigate being a D type to their S types, if that makes any sense at all.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I think it, and me too. Like my opinion is that if you're going to be anybody's D type or if any type of guidance to anybody, you shouldn't be on that side first. Like you should experience that, because how can you lead somebody and how can you guide somebody into these things if you never knew what the process is? Now everybody's different, but like at least you can provide a baseline of that. And we don't go. We have a hand. We have a hand. Yes. Master Eli, you have the floor.
So I'm gonna come on. I think I'm on. Okay, here I am. There's a few things. First of all, thank you for allowing me to come on to your boy talk. I'm happy to see that you all are putting out information and being readily available to the other boys. I just wanted to bring in something that I'm hearing. We're using the words matter to me a lot. And so, S type, I would say that for correction, I was never anyone's S type for correction. Um, when I look at surrender and service, I don't look at it as a type. I look at it as it's a spiritual bond. It's me giving. It's from me giving from my heart. It doesn't put me as a type of anything or a type of anyone. Um, I've always, when, just like with Boyd, when I asked you, how do you see yourself? You see yourself as an S type because that's ingrained in you. I've never been a person that was ingrained to be an S type, but I have had to lead because of my childhood, past experience, so on and so on. I've always wanted to take on a leadership role. It wasn't something that I fought against. It was something that I always pushed to be. In the service, I didn't want to stay at E1. I wanted to be a petty officer from the time I walked in. But there's time that has to be taken and proven in order for you to gain access to what you desire to be. I'm gonna share a story with you all. When I crossed over in Onyx, I I I I didn't like my name. I wanted to be called Sir Ra, meaning whatever is going to be is going to be. And I remember when um, Daddy Steve at the time, he's now Master Steve, said to me, I would never call you sir because you haven't gained that yet. And he said, yet, because he already saw the potential in me. So when I'm hearing from you all is that you're just those who have desire. I didn't for clarity. I wanted my boy to have a boy because, and just like I want my slave to have a slave, it's important that you all understand that you all have something to give to the next generation, the next group of people that's coming in. And it can look like a mentorship and it can look like a dynamic, but all dynamics are relationships. All dynamics and all mentorships are relationships. You all are in a circle where you have a lot of information to give, especially those who have daddies, because we're putting all of this seed in y'all, and then where is it going? Are you holding on to it, or are you planting that seed somewhere else? That's how legacies are started. So understand that. I want you all to understand what you're taking on when you take on another entire human being to foster in leather. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for always dropping nuggets and just words of wisdom and information. No, seriously. I appreciate it. Anytime.
Absolutely.
Boy Brian.
So the question I had for everyone is more um as our collective is growing and we're becoming more um brothers of service together. Um the difference here is all of us as sort of boys and as submissive beings have that in common, and where we have to like build each other up and build each other's skills up. Um the thing that I wanted to ask you all is, so I'm a academic at heart. You can give me an essay, you can give me an assignment. That is where I will knock it out the park. Sorry in advance for the 5-page essay I just sent y'all for my full membership.
5 pages. I'm not. Oh, but that's all you.
But my question to you all is, outside of your kink and your fetish, which we all have of all types of all, no shade to anybody. What would you say is the skill set outside of those things that you would want either to gain or give to someone? Because that is my gift. Like, I could give us all resources for days. I know books for days for all of us, right? That's my gift. I could tell you want a book, I'll find it. You need a free book, I'll find it. What's the gift? What's the one talent we want to give to each other or to the next person that's outside of the fun shit?
Ooh, you want to answer this over, or you want me to go first?
Well, for me, because like I said in one of my posts, I'm a domestic servant. And a lot of us don't concentrate on that part of being a boy and being in service to someone else. And that's where I excel. That's cooking, cleaning, laundry. I ace, and it just and not only I ace it, those are the things that I love to do in service. So part of my education would be seeing where everybody is with that part of servitude.
Okay, I hear you. Um, this boy is a complete opposite. And not no, let me explain this. So I am the opposite in that is not my skill set. Like, yes, I can do those things, but I have to want to do it. Like, I can't just like, that's just not ingrained in me. So my skill set comes in with like the creativeness aspect of my brain and how that works. So if you need something done, if you need something like a flyer or an event, that's where my skill set comes in. And it's like, how can we take something that already exists and make it so that people be like, this is the first time I've ever seen something like this before. So I want to come back to. And so my service is, okay, if you need anything done tech wise, if you need anything done creative wise, if you need anything done, you know, I don't know, anything in those realms, that's where I excel at. But that's not to say that the domestic stuff and those things just go away. Like, that's just, I just have to, get more motivated to do those things. But my skill set is that. So if I would have to say one skill, it would be the creativeness, the glam, the okay, how do you want to like portray us? How do you want to express yourself? Like, I can help with that portion all day in America.
But you know what we just did between what Boy Brian has to offer, and we haven't even gotten to everyone else yet. And what I said that I had to offer and what you have to offer, that's already a foundation of a school.
Hey, You're
We
right.
have a hand up, boy Jojo.
Yeah, basically, and kind of adding to a fourth here. My one of my things is one of my gifts is protection. Like, say like you're at an event or something and you see somebody going, you see something's wrong at an event. I'm usually the one to be like, okay, something like the one thing that people underestimate is that they thought I was they thought I wasn't really paying attention to my surroundings. But yet I used to work security. So that in that mindset, like I already jump into security guard mode when I see somebody doing something really dumb. And I will warn people. And I know one time I was at an event and I saw somebody, they mixed something in his drink and it was not it definitely it was definitely like I felt bad because I didn't have my kit with me, but at the same time I saw his friends were there. So his friends were taking care of him and I was like, what's going on here? Like, and I could like I literally sensed the situation. I was like, okay, somebody's mixing something in the drinks. So and then after that I went and told I went and told the bouncer at the event that this is what's going on. Somebody did something to somebody already. And like, like stuff like that is that you have to like really be focused, especially in public settings, because without that, like anything can happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Any one skill that you have to offer in service, not only just in kink, but outside of kink. Anybody? Don't be shy. Do I have to pick people? You ever working in school?
So, in retrospect to the um the topic, I would say, who I want to word this right because, as Master said, words matter.
They do.
Who opposes S types having S types? Let's start there. Who opposes that?
So
So,
everybody's in agreement.
so
I
everybody's.
think I think the thing that Master Eli always says, and I might get it wrong, but I'm gonna take a swing at this and then he'll correct me. I think you have to come like don't do any like fuck boy shit. Like if you don't know what you're doing, don't get into something you don't know what you're doing, right? If you want something but you don't have the skill set, I don't think there should be any shame of our community of me going to somebody and being like, look. So occasionally, boy Brian maybe gets, being a D type in his head for a second. It might last the evening. It might last the scene. It might last 30 seconds. That doesn't mean it's all the time, right?
Mhm.
Because in my heart, I'm always of service. But like, I have a problem with people who play the D type and don't know what they're doing, and that's when people get hurt. Whether it
Absolutely.
be physically, mentally, or whatever. So I
Mhm.
think what I want to normalize is people being curious is one thing, but I want people to like own if they don't know what they're doing and just like ask.
Right.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. I totally agree because what Boy does now with his mentee, he mirrors his leather dad
I was just about to say that. Like that
because
legacy is.
yeah, that's the way that I know
Mhm.
uh, because that's the way that I live, and so I'm not making shit up as I go along. I'm not doing anything that wasn't presented to me. because even if I don't fully understand with what my leather daddy is asking me to do, I know there's a reason and a purpose. And like he always says, trust the process. So in order to trust the process, I have to do what? I have to trust him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because what he's giving boy has to give to somebody else.
Right. I see your hand, Master Eli. I'm just want to apologize. We are stealing all of your catchphrases and mannerisms.
I was just about to say. I heard fuck shit and trust the process. I was like, wait a minute here, man.
Don't sue us. Don't sue us.
It means we listen when you talk.
Say that, boy, Brian.
I mean, that's just proof that we're listening, basically.
So I must say, it's very flattering. I'm taken back by you all. I didn't know that y'all were listening like that. Like, I'm out here just teaching, and I didn't know if people were actually paying that close of attention, and I'm honored. I'm humbled by you all saying that you all are paying attention. One of the things that I want you all to understand, like the books that you read, um, being someone's mentor, don't concentrate so much on the collar, right? There's a lot of people who have been, and the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of people out here in the community, older people too. They identify as a slave and they've never been collared. They identify as boys and they've never been collared. They've been of service to people and they've never been collared. Being collared is I look at it as an honor. I was never caught. So let me just say this. And the reason why I never identified as a submissive, my sir took me in a mint as a mentee. So I was never collared by him. I don't have a collar to show. However, he made sure that when he was describing the relationships and what comes with the relationship, I was honored to call him my first slave. And because what I did not want to do is, oh, excuse me, take away from what that collar actually means in our culture. When I first came in, I had a mercap, believe it or not, and I used to wear it. And when I found out why people have mercaps and what it was for, I took that damn mercap off very quickly because I wanted to honor what that mercap meant. I didn't want to be one of those people who just buy it and I'm pretending or role playing. Yes, all that stuff looks good, it looks hot, but I wanted to earn it. And you don't want to take away from that collar. Boys that are collared, they've done the work to be collared. It didn't happen in a month. It didn't happen in a week. Sometimes it don't even happen in 2 years. Um, some people get halfway there and they don't make it all the way. Um, Hence one of the reasons why when I'm mentoring someone, I have a cuffing ceremony for them. When I take someone in consideration to be a boy, I give them a consideration collar, and then they move up to a training collar, and then they move up to being collared and owned. It's a process. And so I think that this is just my personal belief, when you give people um, status that they can grow up to, they know that things come with that. You have to read a certain amount of books. You have to do some community service. I don't want to give somebody a collar and they haven't done all the work that my other boys have done. I think that it would be unfair. And I don't give a damn how cute you are, how big your booty is, how many gifts you give me. None of that. You still got to go through the process. And when people realize that they have to go through something in order to earn it, I think that they don't take it for granted once they get it. And so the knowledge that you all learn also make sure that you don't just give any and everybody access to you. Because they'll take your knowledge and run. So I want y'all to be diligent when it comes to you have your safe space, you learn with each other, and understand that there's boys out there that's they're not here for the learning part. They're not here for they're just here for the activities. Y'all know that.
Absolutely, 100%. Know a few of them.
Because everybody, the boys, I feel as a boy, the boys have more fun. When you a boy, when you a leather boy and leather girl, y'all be having all the fun, especially if you uncollared, you just out there frolicking, doing all of the things, But when you are collared, you not only represent yourself, you represent the person that you are the custodian of their collar. And that is a grave responsibility because then it puts you in an accountability spot. So understand all that you're taking in when you're doing that. And when you collar somebody, especially those of you all who are part of a house, when you collar somebody, now they are a direct reflection of you and your house. So those are just little things to think about. I hope I'm not throwing too many bricks at y'all at one time.
No, definitely.
I'm just because I just want to be laying bricks. I don't want to throw bricks.
You don't want to throw them?
You don't want to throw
No, don't hit me with a brick. No, I appreciate this. If I may, like I remember it was a live some time ago that Boy Linwood did at the time, and it was talking about collaring and how like when they received their collar, it wasn't like that wasn't the end goal. That wasn't even the goal. The goal was just being of service and doing the things necessary. And that was just a byproduct of that, but it wasn't the goal. And so I look at, people who have this opportunity or who are in this opportunity, but they still look like this is still a process. This is still more to do. This is not the end point or I got my prize, so now I'm just gonna go and do whatever the fuck I want to do. And so again, and just if I may, looking at your house and how you set up House of Ra, it's like everybody just like falls in line and it's like everybody is on the same page. So when you see one, you not only see them, but you also see the representation of House of Ra and what House of Ra means. And so and I just love that energy. So anytime that I see either you, sir, or Linwood or Kim, like it's always I see like, yes, I am here and I'm here for the shit and show up and show out, but I'm also a representation. I'm representing the House of Ra. I'm representing head of house. So I'm representing that. And so I just want to throw that out there. Boy pays attention and boy is very observant to all these things. But I just think that it's awesome and it's cool.
Can I say something on that too? Like what a lot of people fail to realize is that they see the house, but what people fail to see is the personal relationships. And it's constant. It's not something that happens one time. It's even more difficult because Steel Toe and I was talking about this today. It's amazing when you have your boy that lives with you or they're close to you. It becomes very difficult when they live away from you because down that desire for service, that desire to, for them to show up and show out all their skill sets is it doesn't come on a regular. So when you all are starting these dynamics, you want to also understand that the person that you pick or you choose or you're mentoring, they want to give all of themselves to you. And you have to have the time and the energy to allow them to do that and nurture that. It requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of energy. So just know what you're getting into. Some people, and that's why with boy Oba, he didn't want to take anything on because what I wanted to see is him not be afraid of being overwhelmed. Him not being, and I knew that he could nurture because hell, he got more children than Jesus. However, um, having have having a dynamic is a total different energy than giving your energy to, your natural born children. It's a different type of dynamic. It's a different type of relationship because you're really concerned about that person's welfare, but they still have autonomy over themselves. They can always say, you know what, I don't want this dynamic no more. And then you have to have exit strategies so that, unlike vanilla relationships, you're not trying to hurt people or hurt somebody because the dynamic didn't work. You have to put those kind of things in place. So when you see dynamics that end and people are nasty with each other, you know that they were pouring some vanilla shit in your chocolate, and that doesn't work.
No.
When you see
My
people,
favorite analogy of Master Eli's. This is my favorite analogy that he uses for everything. It's my favorite.
which one?
The vanilla and the chocolate. It's my favorite
Oh,
of
yeah.
of all the ones you use.
That
This is the
Napoleon
one.
in the middle is where I like to be at, right there. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. That's your safe space. That Napoleon pink middle. But if you want to be all chocolate, just come on over to the chocolate side so we can. But I don't want that vanilla shit. Like you cut
Facts.
that off of the Napoleon ice cream because what happens is it 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 makes the chocolate less chocolatey, and it makes the little sweet spot in the middle less of it when you start adding that vanilla lifestyle into your chocolate.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you like that analogy because yeah, I think I'm gonna probably do something on that. But y'all get back to what y'all doing. Enough of me.
I don't know. Maybe you should have a shirt, some merch.
Some merch.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Um, oh, but no, I just want to just point out real quick again, because I get information and knowledge, and I love just talking. So another one who is like a prominent figure in my personal life, and just like the community as well, Master Joshua, has always said, come to me, was like, you know what, in this community, like you're gonna have the what it's called, the 85%, the weekend warriors. And those are the people who just go to events and that's all they do. They go to events and they play and that's it. And then you have that 10% who is, they go to the events and stuff, but they do a little bit more. They're out there. They go to, maybe they'll teach here and there. And that's all well and good. But that 5% of the people who are not only out there showing up and showing out, but are also like doing the work, putting together classes and teaching and putting the tools in people's hands to really get them to understand how this works and how this whole BDSM kink shit works. I said he was like, they sometimes get like lost in the shuffle because everybody's like, well, I don't want to do that. That's too much work. That's too much pressure. And I don't want to do that. I just want to, do my thing on the weekends. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Everybody, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. But I like the fact that, at least for what I see with Leather Boys of Color, we are that 5% that is like, we're going to go out and we're going to show up and we're going to do the motherfucking thing. But at the same time, we want people to like get a real perspective, and not just from a book. Books are great, but like you also getting that personal experience. You're getting that lived experience from people who actually live this lifestyle, actually walk that walk. So if you have any questions or any concerns about something, 9 times out of 10, either one of us or all of us can be like, no, this is what it is, because not only we seen it, but we listen to people, we have mentors and we have people like that, but we also live this and we also have experiences. So I just want to throw that out there. Shout out to all y'all D-types who keep us, knowledgeable and all that good stuff.
May I plug my book discussion for next week, Boogie?
Sure, plug your book discussion.
Not my book.
Your
It's
book
the
discussion.
book. It's the Leatherboy Bible. It's not my book.
Boy, Bible.
But yeah, so next week, I think it's the 28th I booked it for, is the first Leatherboy book conversation. It'll be very similar style to this.
Mhm.
So just make sure you read the first chapter, come with your notes and your tabs or your highlights, whatever your study method is. I want to go chapter by chapter as a group and just like talk it out as boys. And like I said, I'm an academic, so we could write papers for days. I'll grade them. I'll read them. I'll write as many assignments as you'll let me.
You do know you're talking to a literal toddler here. So when you
Yeah, I
say
know.
essays and stuff, I'm like, y'all go ahead and do that. I'll be in the corner, or I'll be
I
in where
could
I'm
give you a
doing stuff.
coloring page and ask you all about that.
Right, right.
Don't you
Just
worry.
explain it in terms that I can understand. Let's do
But
that.
that's the part about this whole conversation, bringing it together, right?
Mhm.
As boys, we all have subsets. We got our domestics, we got our muscle, we got our littles, right? And then the weird librarians.
We have our pups. We have the pups.
Right?
Don't forget about the pups and the pets and the critters.
Right. But my exact point is like, as boys we're here, and then we sort of go all over the line graph, right? So my thing about being switch, and this is something I've sort of, someone said it in one of the master uncovered chats, but I don't know who it was.
Shout out to y'all.
If you're gonna go into D space or some form of topping space, that's your hat for the night. Don't try to switch flavors mid Sunday, because that's just gonna go wrong.
It's a recipe for disaster, and experiencing a top drop and a sub drop at the same time is not fun at all.
So I think that part of the conversation is next, of like, if you're gonna go do the thing, whether it's for the night, for the day, for the scene, that's it, because that's how you F your shit up, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm learning that lesson. So I took that to heart.
You can switch, but you gotta flip at least one direction first.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I get it. Is there anybody who has anything to say, any comments, any, questions that they may have?
Yes.
Here's
Thank
the
you for
floor.
that, Master Eli Alpha Boy. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think that one of the things that you all don't touch on is that even being a boy, it's not that you're going to be a sir or something like that. What you're doing is you're stretching your boyhood. You're stretching it from, because in a house you can have someone that's an alpha boy, you can have someone that's a beta boy, and we've even seen with Master Chalk, they have beta and zeta, so those when you start breaking it down like that, then you have you're showing the responsibilities of what that boy does. The alpha boy is going to take charge of the boys. So that might be something that y'all want to expound on a little bit more and go into depth on what does a zeta boy look like? What does a beta boy look like when you are moving up in responsibilities as a leather boy?
Yeah.
Next month's topic.
When I crossed Onyx, in our first board meeting, the president was introducing the new folk in, and he was asking us how we wanted to be addressed. And a couple of people were like, "Sir such and such, sir such and such, sir such and such." And I'm in my head, you just crossed. How can you be a sir anything? So when he got the boy, how would you like to be addressed? Boy David, because that's who I was at the time. Period. Boy David. I you can't come in trying to be
At the top.
something that you're not. And you can't start at the top.
100%. 100%.
100%, because that's something I can agree with, right? I worked really hard to be called Brian as a transgender man, right? For people to call me Brian was a lot. So when I started this leather journey, somebody asked me what I want to be called, and I was like, Brian works just fine. Like, maybe at some point, me and my Sir Linwood have dabbled in other names, and other things that fit my personality based on other things, not outside of my leather, because I'm leather all the time. But like in adjacent to my leather, both being pagan and working with veterans, something that suits me. But like for right now, for what it's worth, Boy Brian is fine, because I worked really hard, one, to be seen as a boy, two, to be seen as a male identified person. So honestly, we could get to the pretty fancy pageant names later. Just being a boy and being seen as Brian rocks my world. And hearing people like Master Eli just say Boy Brian, or any of the masters when I go to like the Tuesday chats, literally knocks my socks off, because at the end of the day, I chose this, right? I chose this path. No one's holding a gun to my head. No one's telling me I have to do this. So honestly, just being called Boy Brian is enough for me.
And you know you.
Awesome.
You know what works for you, and that's the key, that okay, this is who I am. And nobody is telling you, no, this is who you are. Like, that from the door. And I think that makes the world of a difference, just navigating any space, whether it be online or in person, knowing who you are and walking into the room and saying, this is who I am, address me as such. And if somebody have that integrity to like, oh, actually, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm. But this boy is a natural born submissive. This is who he's been his whole entire life, even before he knew what it was. So to be any other way is foreign. But like Master Eli said, everything that I've learned from being who I am needs to be passed on to somebody else. It was said to me at the first blackout boy went to in what is it 2015, actually, where he first met Master Eli.
Mm.
uh, it was said to me by Mama Vi, you are going to pave the way for others behind you. And the whole blackout was an emotional experience for me then. But when Boy was sitting in the audience and listening to Mama Vi speak, it was even more emotional. I can't even, I'm kind of getting choked up talking about it now. I can't even put into words what my spirit and my body was feeling at the same time. People come into this community, whether they be doms or whether they be submissive, they come into this community with hidden agendas, and then they don't get to experience the spiritual and the emotional side of what's being done, what they're doing on their leather journey. Their their only thought process is their game. And that hurts a lot of us. That's why I push, and I always push research.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you learn from your peers is good, but what you learn on your own is better.
Sorry. Mm-hmm.
When I first came into this community, I was given things to research. And in researching those things that I was given led me to other things. Which is why when I was on my pledge line, it was thought that I had been in this community for years. And I was just coming in just like everybody else.
Funny you say that. So like we for Leather Boys of Color have had to write two essays so far, a third one for full membership. And again, as I said, as an academic, I was like, oh, challenge accepted. Right? And and what I find is this FOMO where, you know, you're all sharing scenes and other things, and I'm just like, I got nothing to share yet. And also, like, as a person who is an academic, I'm like, I could share you all of this research I've done and all of these little things. And I'm like, but secretly, I'm like, then watch somebody use it in one of their papers and not give proper credit and not source it. And I'm like, I don't want that either. Right? That's like my little alpha boy coming out is I'm like, if somebody steals this and doesn't give proper credit to me, I'm gonna lose it on someone.
No, we don't want you to lose it at all. I just
Right.
want to say for me, like, coming into this really quick, coming into this, like, I came in this not blind, but I came into this whole thing with the idea of I just know I like one thing, and that one thing makes me happy, and so I just want that, and that's it. I wasn't thinking about leather. To me, I was like, why is people wearing leather? It's hot. You can't move. I didn't understand it, but but again, I was like, you know what? As time went on, and I got to meet different people and meet different, get different perspectives, then that door started to like open, the light switch went on. I was like, oh, this is deeper than again just going to these events and going to munches and stuff like that. It's deeper. There's a deep history in here, and I want to learn more about it. And so I kind of just went on this like self-discovery journey of reading stuff and looking up stuff, and a lot of it was from like the internet, but that's all I had because I didn't have a reference. I didn't have anybody who I was like connected to, and being an introvert, I was like, I don't want to engage anybody anyway. So it was kind of hard, but so like during my come ups and throughout the years and stuff, I've was able to like have a baseline of what leather is. And it's way more than, just wearing full cow. See, that's a term that I learned. Full cow and being out here and stuff like that is deeper than that. There's traditions and there's history and there's all sorts of material that not only will help you be a better person in the scene and the lifestyle, but make you a better person overall. And taking those and translating that into everyday life. So again, it's just one of those things where it's like everybody is different. You're gonna have those people who just want to like, I just want to come in, I just want to be a submissive, and I just want people to do the things to me, and that's it. They don't care about anything else other than that. And I say to them, well, you're missing out. You're like, that's great and all, that's cool, kudos, but like you're missing out on the deeper meaning. Like you're missing out on the reason why there's things like garrisons and meerkats and harnesses and all of that and vests and what it means to be a part of a leather club. You're missing out on so much more because you're just focusing on the physical. And so nowadays, I walk into spaces and I'm just like, I hear people or I see people and like they're like, oh, I just bought this because it looks hot on me. And I was like,
Ugh, I
okay,
cringe.
right. You're at a bar somewhere and someone walks to you and like, oh, call me sir this or call me daddy this. And I'm just like, well, what makes you these things? Is it because like you caught a good sale and you decided to buy this meerkat, so that makes you a master now? Yeah. I am that type of person because again, like I don't want to ever have anybody tell me, oh, this is what it is, especially when I've done the research myself. And then I have people in my circle that pours into me so much that for me to just go along with it, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to them and I'm doing a disservice to myself. So I ask those questions and I'm not ashamed to ask them. And I'm dead serious when I say this. So I tell other people who are coming up who want to know about this lifestyle, I tell do the research for yourself. Anybody can tell you anything in the world because they want to get in your pants or they want this and that or whatever reason. Do the research for yourself. If you got to ask 5,000 questions to feel comfortable enough to sharing information with this person, ask those 5,000 questions. And if one of those questions seem off or vague or whatever, that's a red flag saying, hey, I don't know. And I'll tell if that you get that feeling, listen to your gut, girl. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Really worth it in the end. Trust me. I've been there. I've been there because I've been naive, and I can say this about myself. I've been naive to where like I wanted this dynamic so bad that I fell for somebody saying that, and they gave me the whole collar and everything, and I thought I was the shit. I was like, oh, look at me, like I'm part of the in crowd. And that person was doing just damage and was so toxic that it took not a long time, but it took a while for me to understand that this is not what that is. This is not, honesty. This is not trust. This is not communication. This is just control. And this is isolation. This is the exact opposite of what it should be. And so I tell that to anybody coming nowadays, like, do the research for yourself because if you know who you are and you know what you want and you know how you're supposed to be treated and deserve to be treated, it don't matter how good that person may look. It don't matter. I don't care how big their thing is. I don't care. None of that. All of that goes out the window because you could tell me anything in the world. But if I'm seeing and I'm experiencing something totally different, then what am I to believe? What you're telling me or what I see?
Absolutely. And these are the things that we absolutely and absolutely and absolutely must share with each other. We can't only share the things that are good in our dynamics or the things that are good in our experience on this leather journey. We have to educate on the things that aren't so positive so people can know the difference because some people can't decipher the difference.
Oh, and people are real clever. They have a way with words. They're very craftful with words. And they can
Amen.
get you to do something and be in some things, and then That's a mess. So please, us as boys, us as leather boys, us as leather boys of color, it is very important and very, very important that we not only take care of each other and protect each other, but protect yourselves and know and do the
Amen.
research for yourself.
Amen.
Boy Jojo,
Mistress D. I'm sorry.
who's going first?
I just wanted to address Mistress D. I
Yes.
see you're on. I came a little late, so boy doesn't know if you had anything to say yet. So would you like to address any of the issues that we've just discussed? Or would you like to
Hello.
add anything?
Um, no, I was actually just observing for today, but I really appreciate you guys having me on. I did agree with Master Eli on one thing. I was never submissive, but I was underneath mentorship because I believe that you cannot lead someone somewhere if you've never been there. So, I believe you need to start at one place and then build your way up. And that gives you experience to be able to lead somebody. But you can't tell anybody where to go or how this is if you've never been there. So I do agree with that. I also agree with submissives having submissives. I don't think that's an issue. But just long as they're properly mentored and knowing what they do, the power exchange to me is what it is, whether it's a submissive or a D type, So, but I thank you guys for having me on, and you'll see more of me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Not and please, my apologies. But yes, it's always great to hear you and hear your opinions. Like it's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Boy Jojo.
Well, this is something that kind of goes into one of my own other kinks. Basically, because let's just face it, mostly everybody in here knows that I'm a pup as well. So, and one of the things that that's sort of been hurting my relationship with my partner is because he started working with bio dogs, and he tries to not mix the two, but they're so interchangeable. He has to learn to realize that there's no way that he could just do that, and there's no way that he can do that and not really realize that. And I like literally, I told him like this and then like next month, there's going to be a couple of days where I'm going to want to pop out over here, and like we actually had to have like one-on-one conversation, and I'm like, look, I'm getting tired of just being the boyfriend and not being the pup around you. Because I'm always gonna express my pup side, and I don't like, and I kind of had to like lay that with him because it's like you can't deny part of me just because of your job. And also something that that's just something that I've been dealing with, but I know like he loves to take he loves to watch the online videos. And I'm like, you have to also be at spaces in person to really learn. And for him, that hasn't really been a thing lately because I know his job schedule sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I have to try to convince him that's something that he needs to see. But yeah, that's just my point. That's my point as far as my relationship is going. It's not one of the best things, but at the same time, I know something that needs work.
Right, it's a process, and everything is not going to be on the up and up. Everything's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. There are going to be times where those difficult conversations are going to need to be had. As long as you're open about it and you're upfront about it and you are speaking from love and you're speaking from understanding, but you also want to get your point across because again, it's a two-way street. It's not just you do this and I say yes. It's like we have to be on the same page. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point if you're on page 2 and I'm on page 35? Like it doesn't work. So it's a challenge, but hashtag trust the process, and it would be, and like just
Always.
again, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. Is there any
Can I
other?
comment on boy JoJo's um situation?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Um, so boy JoJo just brought something to you all, and I'm surprised to see no one kind of dissect that.
I
Um,
kind of want to, but I don't know how to do it
okay,
respectfully. So I was
okay,
wondering if you could show us how to, if you could teach one so we can do it in the future.
okay. Each one teach one. Here we go.
Okay.
Um, the first thing I would want to ask, um, boy JoJo is you have your boyfriend. Is your boyfriend, as you being a pup? You mentioned, I heard you say he trains bio dogs. Okay, so I'm listening. I'm conscientious listening. So him training bio dogs and you being a kinkster and role playing as a dog are two different things. That's number one. Number two, has he shown or have displayed interest in being a pup handler? Because there's difference between a pup trainer and a pup handler. Those are two different things. I think that a lot of times people get your vanilla relationship caught into a situation when it comes to your kink. If I would make a suggestion, if I would allow to be make a suggestion, I would suggest that you find a pup handler in the community to handle your kink side of being a pup. That way you will get exactly what you want because that person is trained to do just that. And they have an interest to do just that. Having my boyfriend be my pup, I mean, have my boyfriend, if I'm a pup and I have my boyfriend to be my pup, with that, I'm handler. What that is saying is that I like the security that I have with my relationship. And I want that same kind of security in when I'm being vulnerable, being a pup in my pup headspace. However, you have to find someone that is enthusiastic about being a handler. And then you do the things that you all are learning here. You vet that person. But making your boyfriend be your kinkster is actually putting pressure on your relationship that doesn't need to be there.
So I think what I would ask also, Jojo, is very similar to the analogy that I love so much from Master Eli about vanilla and chocolate. It sounds like you and your partner, your boyfriend, have a great, loving, vanilla relationship, right? Not all relationships, everyone has the same kinks, fetishes, interests. We don't all flag the same way. Um, I'm okay talking about my situation and how I got here, and I've shared this with you. My fiance, the love of my life, my ride or die, is asexual. I got into leather. I petitioned Sir Linwood because, let's be real, it's been 3 long years and I'm really done digging cobwebs out of places. Real talk. It's not that my partner is doing anything wrong. This is not his fault. This is just a hurdle that can either do one of two things. It can break us or make us stronger. And what I would suggest for you is the same thing I have now suggested of myself, which is communication amongst you and your beloved about what's going great, what's going what's going wrong, and then coming to some sort of negotiation or common ground about what do you need to be more authentic and a wholer individual. Because you don't need to get all your thing. The great thing about our community is we have the language to say we can be polyamorous, we can be leather, not everybody's everything to each other. And I think that's something we have to learn how to be okay with saying.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 100%. Like, thank you for your advice on that situation.
Yeah,
And both of you, yeah.
Yeah, and like so my relationships, my dynamics, and how how that is with with my partners, and how we're not always in alignment when it comes to things like that. But again, it's like one of those things where it's like it's one of those conversations that for me I don't want to have, but I know it's necessary to have because it's gonna promote growth either way. It's going to promote growth in a way that, okay, this is where we have understanding and this we're going to move forward with this, or this needs to be put on pause so that we can, have time for ourselves to like kind of like figure shit out. So again, conversation is everything. Language is everything, and intent is everything. Do we have any more lingering comments, questions, concerns?
This boy
Where your
actually
money? I'm reading the chat and I'm like, where your money? I ain't got no money for you. Okay. She broke on these. She had to do Christmas shopping. Okay.
This boy actually has to go. So he's gonna thank everybody for coming. He's gonna thank everybody for their questions and their comments, and and education, and for sharing. He looks forward to the next one. And I guess we already got our next topic.
Sure do. Already in the books, working on it now. Flyer coming out tomorrow.
So I'm just gonna wish everyone a good night and have a really, really great holiday. And whatever you choose, just choose wisely.
Yeah. Real quick. So that will be January the 17th, third Wednesday, 2024, 8 p.m. And we will hope to see you all in the new year and all of that good stuff. Leather Boys of Color, we are doing big things. There are a lot of things in the works. So let's get on it. We about this. Thank you again, once again, for showing up, showing out, and being a part of this Boy Talk. I had a good time. It's always a good conversation to have with amazing people who pour us in so much knowledge and information and leave the fuck shit with the fuck shit. But I just had to throw that in there.
Oh my
God. But leave the fuck shit out the door, basically.
Right.
Yeah, but once again, thank you all. Have a good night. Be on the lookout for anything, announcements, all of that. It's been a good talk, and I hope to see y'all in the next year.
Good night.
Y'all
did a wonderful job. Well done. Well done.
Good night.
Thank you.
How do I end this? Okay.